We are examining the graph of malnutrition versus different variables for three different countries in an attempt to find the causes of significant changes in rates of malnutrition from 1980 to 2011. On the plot malnutrition versus literacy, the pattern of Maldives was particularly interesting. The literacy rate remained exceptionally high in all the data collected within the years 1980 to 2011, increasing from about 96% of people to 98% through the course of 30 years. In these years, such an extraordinarily high literacy rate is attributed to the instatement of the Literacy and Neoliteracy Program, which began in 1980. This program sought to create an educated citizenry through achieving universal literacy for adults who are seen not only as beneficiaries but also the agents of the process of change. Before 1980, the literacy rate in Maldives was already considerably high, around 70%. Thus, Maldives already had a head start in increasing the literacy rates. The Literacy and Neoliteracy Program recorded names and addresses of Maldivians considered illiterate and targeted them with a curriculum aimed to be covered by illiterates in 15 months and neoliterates in 10 months. Roughly 20,000 volunteer teachers offered classes at many convenient times for adults and also utilized workspaces as settings for literacy training. Just in 10 years, from 1980 to 1990, the literacy rate increased from 81.66% to 98.19% and is currently a little higher at 98.4%. Additionally, Maldives boasts a much lower malnutrition rate than other countries within South Asia, which in an FAO article from 1998 was claimed to be the place where the largest number of people suffering from micronutrient malnutrition lived. In 1997, the Food and Nutrition Division of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations began an initiative within South Asia as a follow-up to the International Conference on Nutrition and the World Food Summit. The program's objectives were to improve nutrition through food production at the household level, including home gardening, small animal production, aquaculture, food processing and preservation, nutrition education, and food fortification. The workshop participants from South Asian countries agreed that actions must be accelerated to ameliorate the serious situation. The graph clearly reveals the positive and rapid effects of the 1997 program within Maldives. On the Gapminder graph, a large spike in the percent of malnourished children occurs between 1995 and 1997, followed by a rapid decline until the end of the data in 2011.
Mali, a country located in the west of Africa, is one of the poorest countries in the world. As you can see from the graph of GDP versus time, Mali has had relatively no economic growth since 1967, and in 2011, its GDP was $4,200,000,000. To put this in perspective, the United States' GDP in 2011 was $11,740,000,000,000. It should come as no surprise, then, that Mali has also experienced extreme levels of malnutrition. If we look at the graph of malnutrition over time for Mali, when we look at it, we see that in 1996, Mali reached a peak malnutrition level of 20%, meaning that 1/5 of all children under the age of 5 in Mali were underweight. However, what happened in 1996 that sparked a sharp change? This shift indicates the effect of the Tuareg rebellion of the 1990s. Frustrated by rapidly increasing effects of famine and drought of the 1980s, combined with weak government aid from Mali, the Tuareg rebels attacked government buildings in Gao and began a civil war in Mali. This war ended in 1996 when weapons were burned in Timbuktu as a peace symbol, and a large aid effort began in Mali. From 1996 to 1997, the UN Trust Fund, with support from multiple donors, financed the $10 million support program for the socio-economic reintegration of ex-combatants in northern Mali. This provided small grants to 9,500 ex-combatants. And based on a model from Mozambique, this provided $600 to $700 per person for 866 projects focusing on livestock, agriculture, commerce, services, and other livelihoods. As we can see on the graph of malnutrition versus aid received, in 1996, Mali received $635,500,000 in aid, and health spending spiked to 7.8% of the total GDP. After this initial spike, we see that the malnutrition rate falls rapidly, and in 2001, the malnutrition rate plateaus at about 12%. It is clear from the data that the political uprising that occurred because of famine and drought in Mali caused the problem to be addressed in 1996 with the end of the civil war.